Hi Neil.
Right, Jeff.
What are you doing? Sorting out a new helmet?
No, I'm just checking it out. Mine's very similar to that. It's just I'm just in my local bike dealer, just checking everything out.
So this is a regular leisure activity, is it? Having a browse?
Well, when you're a professional motorcycle racer, you have a lot of time on your hands. So I do a little bit of training, and then it's just general messing around. So I'm in here quite often.
Well, look, cutting the messing around certainly for this year. Prospects for this year. How do you think it's going to go? What are your ambitions?
I'm going to be really original here and say I want to be world champion. No,
that's good. Yeah. Well,
it's much of the same, you know. The last 2 years they have been very, very disappointing, and I feel like we can have a lot better year this year. It's an important year for me. I feel like I've been given a second chance, you know, after 2 bad years with Ducati. I thought it might have been quite difficult to secure a ride, but thankfully I have, with a good team. And you know, I'm feeling that if I could be in the top 5 in the first few races, nothing crazy, get some points on the table, and then, you know, the most important thing for me, I think, this year is to improve throughout the year. Don't get a good result at the beginning and then, you know, struggle to repeat it. If I can improve all through the year, and by the end of the year win some races, then I'll be doing cartwheels. I'll be happy.
Yeah, but not on the bike.
Not on the no. I did all them last year. I did all the cartwheels and somersaults last year on the bike.
So far, you've done some testing. I know Shah Alam, you were sort of off tune somewhat. You had a tummy bug.
Yeah, that was actually in Indonesia. The first test, I had quite bad food poisoning, so I missed that. So that was a shame. But it's since then I've had quite a lot of testing on the bike. I've been to Spain. I've had a 3-day test there. I've had a 3-day test in Malaysia, and I've had a 3-day test in Australia. So I've managed to do a lot of miles on the bike, and I feel pretty confident.
Looking at your times, particularly at Phillip Island, I mean, you were well up there, weren't you? And just a few hundredths of a second behind Yanagawa. So that must have given you a buzz. That you felt with a chance.
Yeah, it's getting closer every time I ride the bike. You know, the first time I rode the bike, I was 2.5 seconds slower than Akira, and that I was trying. You know, it wasn't as if I was just riding round. I was pushing it at that. And I came home, and that was just before Christmas, and I had a bad Christmas because that's all I could think about. But since then, you know, I've been back on the bike, and I've done a lot more miles, and I've chipped away at that gap. The next test I was about a second slower, and then it ended up at the last test in Australia where I was, you know, we did basically exactly the same time. So that's really encouraging for me and the team. They can see that I'm going to progress, and that they've signed a good rider.
And you've settled into the Kawasaki team well. I mean, completely different sort of approach, I would have thought. The sort of brilliant Italians, all bouncy, and then is it more organised Japanese, or wouldn't you quite put it like that, or what?
Oh no, I put it like that, definitely. I mean, it's run by Germans. It's run by Harald Eckel. He's a team manager, and he's very methodical. Everything he does, you know, the way that. The general organisation of the team, you know, from flying to getting to the events to the, you know, the running of in how the garage should be run inside, it's fantastic. It's so organised. You know, with the Italians, they were pretty laid back. You know, if testing on a private test, if the track opened at 9 o'clock, we might get on it at 11. Where with Harold, I have to be there at 8 o'clock, sit down with like the morning debrief, what the plan is for the day, what we're going to test, and you'll say, right, today you have to do race distance twice. Which is hard, you know, in a hot country. It's the last thing you want to do, but he's making me work, and he's getting a lot more out of me from that. So, you know, we're all going to gain in the end. And
you feel more comfortable in that more rigid setup then, do you?
Yeah, everybody's different. You know, like Carl rode for Honda in '96, Carl Fogarty, and he hated it, you know, because that was very similar, very organised.
Yeah.
And
he prefers the more laid back.
Yeah, he prefers the more laid back. I'm naturally a little bit lazy, and I'll do the least amount of work as possible. Like most of us, you know.
You're honest as well.
I am honest. I'm honest. No, I'm honest because I know the way I work, obviously. And so with Ducati, I found that's exactly what I was doing. I was doing the least amount of work possible. I was pushing myself in training, but when it got to actually riding the bike, I was being a bit lazy. So now I've got quite a strict German stood behind me, you know, and he's, you know, when I come in and I'm trying to come up with these excuses, he'll say, no, back out again, you know, let's see you do that again, then do another 10 laps or whatever.
So you're now fluent in German and Japanese, are you, or what? Is there any language problem? Or
no, okay. Thank God everybody speaks English. Well, my chief mechanic's American. I've got an Irish mechanic and I've got a German mechanic. Okay, so thankfully English is the language that is spoken, and I'm just about getting the hang of that.
Yeah, and Ari speaks good English as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does. I mean, he's Japanese. They are pretty quiet guys anyway, and they're pretty shy. But he's got a good grasp of the English language, a little bit better than mine. But no, he's a nice guy, he's a good lad.
Well, I must say, you're looking good for this year at least. You're obviously looking forward to the first race, and then we've got to watch Neil this year, is it?
Yeah, definitely. I said it last year. I said, you know, watch out, I'm going to have a good year, and I really thought I was going to. but from the first round, it was terrible. I had 2 DNFs, so it's going to be my year this year, and I'm just going to give 100%. It's all I can do, and I want everybody to be behind me, and I want people to turn up at Donington, at Brands Hatch, and get the Union Jacks waving, and really support me and Whittam and Fogarty, and just really get behind us, because it is a big help.